Big news for Social Security as we're hearing an agreement could be at hand. A new deal is underway, they're saying, details just being released for Social Security reform, and this is happening outside of the debt ceiling negotiations. And they're saying that they need to get the debt ceiling negotiation taken care of, and then they have got a new plan. I'm going to give you all the details. Now, like I said, this has just been coming out in the last 24 hours. Take a look. Senators eye Social Security reform as some in the House GOP consider cuts. And that's right. We've been hearing the debt ceiling negotiations have been over cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Wait till you see the reasons why. Now, also take a look. GOP threatens to cut Social Security and Medicare in the debt ceiling fight, and here it is, the smart bipartisan plan to shore up Social Security. Bill Cassidy and Angus King propose American Social Wealth Fund, and they're saying this could be a solution to solving the solvency issue that we're currently facing right now with Social Security for everybody collecting retirement, SSI, SSDI, all of the different provisions. So you're going to want to watch this all the way through. I'm going to give you the latest that's been unfolding in the last 24 hours, as this is brand new information coming out on potential reform and changes to Social Security. Now, in addition to that, I've let you know about a lot of changes that could be coming here very soon. There is a lot hinging on what happens in Congress with our economy, Social Security, Medicare, all of that. So be sure to stick around to the end for an update on that as well. But let's go ahead and dive into these articles, get you caught up on the latest that's happening right now. And if you appreciate the updates, do me a quick favor, smash the like button, subscribe to stay up to date. I'll let you know everything happening, what's available for you and your family. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so link in the description below to this article just came out yesterday, and it's going to be giving us an update on the negotiations, what's taking place, and potential reform to Social Security. Now, the article says that some senators are eyeing a divided Congress as an opportunity to tackle reforms to Social Security, as the program faces significant solvency issues in little more than a decade. And I've let you know that they had said 2035, and now, because of the massive COLA increases, they're actually saying 2033, 2032, it could be a lot sooner than they're anticipating. Changes to Social Security are a perpetually heavy lift for Congress, but they've gained traction as some House Republicans float cuts to it as a part of the debt ceiling negotiations. Now, a wise senator said that whenever you see reforms shore up those kinds of programs, it usually takes a divided Congress, said Dan Sullivan. So, maybe that's historically boding well for something that would make sure that Americans have a secure retirement system. Senate Republicans are generally leaving debt ceiling negotiations to the GOP-controlled House. But separately, there has been growing chatter from both parties in the upper chamber about potential ways to help protect Social Security, which some estimates say is on track to becoming insolvent in about 12 years. Reports surfaced last week that Senator Bill Cassidy and Angus King are working toward a bipartisan compromise to help protect the program, unrelated to the debt ceiling negotiations. Semaphore, which broke the news, reported that the efforts could lead to an investment fund specifically to help shore up Social Security, and that is pretty much it. They're working on a new fund to be able to help provide additional money. Now, the senator's office confirmed to The Hill last week that both Cassidy and King have been working on the legislative solution, but said that the plan is not yet finalized. So we're just getting little bits of information. Not all the details have been released just quite yet, but they're saying, you're going to see here in a second, that this will be able to provide additional funding and not tamper with anybody's benefits that's receiving Social Security. Now, Cynthia Loomis told The Hill on Monday that she plans to meet with Cassidy later this week about the proposal when asked about the prospects of a bipartisan compromise to protect the programs. He's got a proposal, and I don't know how many senators he has vetted his proposal with, but I'm anxious to learn about it, she said. He's making the rounds. Now, on the other side of the aisle, Senator Joe Manchin, a key centrist, recently suggested raising the taxable wages cap for the program. So we've heard increase the taxation to try to provide additional funding. But we've also heard that that probably won't be enough. Now, if you want to have a quick fix, you have enough cash so people can continue to get their benefits that they've earned and worked so hard for. The easiest way is to raise the cap, he told The Hill. The proposals in the Senate come as House lawmakers and the White House spar over whether to include Social Security and other entitlement programs like Medicare in the negotiations over raising the debt ceiling. White House Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen notified congressional leaders last week that her office will begin implementing extraordinary measures to keep the U.S. government from defaulting on its debt, which recently surpassed the roughly $31.4 trillion threshold set by Congress more than a year ago. Yellen said that the steps should buy Congress until early June, so that is when the X date is, the default date. They have got to get this done before then, or it will be devastating for not just Social Security and Medicare, but the entire economy. They have until early June to hash out bipartisan plans, setting off a high-stakes battle in Washington. Raising the debt limit would allow the government to pay for programs that it has already approved, not authorize any new spending. So these are programs that are already set in place. So take a listen to why Social Security and Medicare are coming to the forefront on this. But the House Republicans have pressed for any action on the debt ceiling to be paired with significant fiscal reforms. But the party is still working out its strategies, mapping out demands for the months ahead. Now, here it is. There are divisions over whether those reforms should include entitlement programs, which eat up a large chunk of the federal spending. Federal data showed that Social Security alone accounted for about 20% of the government's spending in fiscal year 2022, and Medicare made up 12%. So about a third of the spending is for Social Security and Medicare. Now, Democrats, by contrast, have instead insisted on a clean bill to address the debt ceiling, while demanding Republicans provide specifics about the areas that they want to cut. If Republicans are talking about draconian cuts, they have an obligation to show Americans what those cuts are and let the public react. Does that mean cuts to Social Security and Medicare and child care and Pell Grants? Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on the Senate floor on Monday. But despite some support in the Senate for taking on entitlement funding reform sooner rather than later, there is doubt among lawmakers and experts of the changes of Congress being able to move legislation to help protect either Social Security or Medicare in the current session. Now, Senator Marco Rubio said ideally reforms for the programs would be on the table for debt limit talks, but added that the debt ceiling has proved to be a very poor leverage for those kinds of fights, primarily because there's very little interest in defaulting on the debt. And that is a great point, that there is a lot on the line here, and they're all well aware of it. So playing chicken with something that is this important, this severe, I think in the end of the day, hopefully here, they'll all be wise enough to make a decision to increase the debt ceiling or do something to help out, because we cannot default on the debt. And then they're saying that is why the Social Security and Medicare cuts that they're pushing, he's saying it's not going to be a good fight, because at the end of the day, are you willing to collapse the entire economy over this? They're saying they don't think so. But we will see. And right now, as I mentioned, there is a proposal on the table to try to reform Social Security. Details, bit by bit, are just starting to roll out. Reform is needed. We've only got a little bit of time before that Sullivan seat comes to an end. Last year, the Social Security payments, the COLA increase, did not keep up with inflation, fell short every single month. And we're also hearing that there needs to be boosts to the benefits. People are calling for those $200 per month increases that was promised before by the Biden administration, and also the calculations for the COLA, they're saying, need to be based on CPIE, not CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, not for the working individual. So a lot of changes they're saying need to come, along with taxation changes. All of these, we're hearing big changes need to be made, and it looks like big changes are going to be coming. We're hearing 2023 is the year for Social Security. Now, if you want to get more on some of the changes we're hearing that could be implemented, be sure to check out this video next as I cover them in detail with some of the things that are going on right now with the debt ceiling and some of the issues, potential cuts and changes. Check out this video next, you guys. But that is the latest. I'll let you know if more comes out on an agreement for Social Security that they're working on right now. And if you appreciate that, smash the like button, subscribe to stay up to date, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.